Icelandic authorities has been quite tough on some of the bankers. Some are even in jail. But the money is still gone, and much of it probably hidden offshore in tax havens. What do you think about that?
Well, of course, has a lot of research been ongoing to try to find any such funds that have not been reported to the tax authorities. But I have the feeling that there aren't as huge sums hidden away as some would think. I think many of these bankers believed in what they were doing, believed that the bubble could just continue to grow. And when it burst, money that was on the accounts but wasn't really, never really there, disappeared. So this wasn't, and I'm not just talking about Iceland now, I'm talking about the run-up to the international financial crisis. We saw a huge increase in assets, particularly in the banks. But was there ever any real value behind this? I think much of it was just air, just numbers that were out of proportion to reality. So when we had the financial crash of 2007-8, we were in effect wiping away a lot of air rather than losing real value.
I learned that the Icelandic government approved for the tax authority to buy sensitive tax information data. Why is that important?
Well, it's important to rebuild trust in Icelandic society towards, well, government obviously, but also the financial system and our way of doing things. People lost faith in a lot of institutions and obviously in politics and banks with the crash. And having faith in important institutions is very important, very valuable for society. So we want to show that we are leaving no stone unturned. This is now being researched by the tax authority, and it's very difficult to say what will come out of it, but in any case, people can rest assured that the government is doing what it can to look into any misconduct.
But why dig into the past? Isn't it better for a society, Iceland in this case, to forgive and move on?
Well, that's also a very important point. It's something that I've been thinking about a lot recently, because now it's been close to 8 years, 7.5 years since the crash. And society is still more preoccupied with those events than it should be. What do I mean by that? Well, as I mentioned before, I think it's extremely important that we learn from the past. But there is still too much negativity in society, too much mistrust, to the extent that it can become damaging for the society. So we need to do what we can to learn from the past, punish those that broke the law, obviously, but then move on and rebuild. And I would like to see us go more into the rebuilding phase, and we are starting to do it, definitely, but it has taken 7-8 years to get there. And hopefully, when people see that we are continuing to work on improving our system, we are leaving no stone unturned, they can start to have more faith in the future.
Mm-hmm. What do you personally think about people and companies that are using, well, tax havens for hiding assets, for example?
Well, in Iceland, like in most Nordic societies, or all Nordic societies, I suppose, we attach a lot of importance to everybody paying his share, because we have a big, society is seen as a big project that everybody needs to take part in. So when somebody is cheating the rest of society, it is taken very seriously in Iceland. And we have been trying to, of course, get people to pay their taxes, but also emphasize research on what went wrong in the past. But it is, to some extent, a question of preserving the values I think most people share, at least in our part of the world, that you have a responsibility to pay taxes. Somebody told me, I don't know whether it's true, that in Sweden you take it so far that people are extremely proud of paying taxes. I wouldn't say that Icelanders are proud of paying taxes, but they still feel it's their responsibility. So we want to maintain those values.
I see. Well, in Sweden there's a debate on, I mean, we have a sort of a, I'll just elaborate on this, we have a special law now that people that maybe had assets abroad can take it home. Mm-hmm. Sort of an amnesty, you know, not being punished, but declare it for 5 years back or something like that. And there's been quite a debate on that. Mm-hmm. But I mean, what about yourself, Mr. Prime Minister? Have you or did you have any connections yourself to an offshore company?
Myself? No. Well, the Icelandic companies, and I have worked for Icelandic companies, had connections with offshore companies, even the what's it called, the workers' unions. So it would have been through such arrangements, but I have always given all of my assets and that of my family up for the taxes. So there has never been any of my assets hidden anywhere. And it's an unusual question for an Icelandic politician to get. It's almost like being accused of something. But I can confirm that I have never hidden any of my assets.
Sorry for being rude, that's not what I want to do. I just wanted to ask you personally that, so the case is that you have never had whatsoever any connection to an offshore company yourself.
As I say, my assets have always been up on the table.
Mr. Prime Minister, what can you tell me about a company called Wintris?
Well, it's a company, if I recall correctly, which is associated with one of the companies that I was on a board of, and had an account, which, as I mentioned, has been with the tax on the tax account since it was established. So now I'm starting to feel a bit strange about these questions, because it's like you are accusing me of something when you are asking me about a company that has been on my tax return.
Yeah, but it must be okay for me as a journalist to ask a Prime Minister about personal...
But you are indicating that I have not paid taxes on it.
No, I'm just asking you questions.
Okay.
But to go into the details, I would like my partner to do it in Icelandic, because I don't have the details to discuss it.
Akkur hefur það ekki sagt frá...
Ég skal taka þetta viðtal við því sjálf, en sérstaklega.
Akkur hefur ekki sagt frá því að þú væri tengdur aflandsfélaginu Wintris?
Heyrðu, ég skal veita þér þetta viðtal, ef þú biður viðtal þetta.
Þú getur svarað, þú ert forsætisráðherra þjóðarinnar.
Algjörlega.
Þú getur svarað þessum spurningum.
Vegna þess, eins og ég var að lýsa hérna áðan, þetta kemur fram á skattskýrslunum mínu og hefur gert frá upphafi. Það er verið að reyna að gera eitthvað tortryggilegt sem ég hef gefið upp alla tíð.
Þú segir að þú hefur gefið þetta félag upp.
Algjörlega.
Akkur gafst þetta ekki upp í hagsmunaskráningu þingmanna eftir þú varst kjörinn á þing?
Vegna þess að hagsmunaskráning þingmanna náði til tiltekinna atriða. Og öll þau atriði sem hagsmunaskráning þingmanna næri til voru gefin upp. Og þetta sem þú ert að tala var einhvað sem var búið til af einhverjum banka á sínum tíma, en gefið upp frá fyrsta degi. Þannig að hérna...
Átt þú þetta félagið?
Konan mín seldi hlut í fjölskyldufyrirtækinu, það fór í einhverja umsjón í bankanum og bankin setti eitthvað fyrirkomulag af því og úrvarð þetta fyrirtæki eða ég kann ekki einu svona á þetta allt saman, en allt gefið upp til skatts frá upphafi.
En hvaða eignir er í félagi? Hvaða eignir er í félagi?
Ég meina, þú biður ekki...
Við vitum það að Wintris var kröfuhafi og er kröfuhafi í falli bönkunum.
Já, þú ert að spyrja mig hluti sem ég er ekki einu sem búin að kynna mér. Plataði mig í viðtal og... Þú
seldir þinn hlut í félaginu fyrir $1
Nei. Þú ert að spyrja mig einhverju tóma vitleysu. Þú plataði mig í viðtal og fölskum fórsetum.
Ég er með undirskiptina það.
Já.
Viltu sjá hana?
Já, ég meina... Þetta bara...
But with all respect, Mr. Prime Minister, it must be okay to ask those questions.
Já, einmitt. Sko,
á gamlársdag 2009.
Þegar þú spyrir mig að koma í viðtal, þá verður ekki með tækifæri til þess að kynna mér það sem þú þarf að spyrja.
Þú hlýtur að vita félagið. Þú seldir konunni þinni félagið, helmingi félagið fyrir $1.
Ég er bara að segja, seldi ég konu minni.
Já.
Ég var ekki eins og giftur á þessu tíma. Ég er bara að segja þér að
Anna Sigurlaug
þau eru allt verið gefið upp til skatt frá upphafi. Þannig að þau eru verið að gera eitthvað tortryggilegt sem að er ekki tortryggilegt.
Vita félagið í Indi Fens að þú hafðir áttu aflandsfélag sem
hvaða atriði ertu að reyna að búa til hérna? Alveg verið nöðu að það.
Sigmundur, þú hlýtur að geta svarað þessum spurningum. Þú forsættisráðherra, þú hefur ekki komið heilt frá.